NASCAR champion to Start&Park driver, the Jeff Green story. Born September 6, 1962, the youngest of three racing Green brothers, all which would grow up to become NASCAR drivers. Jeff Green is a former NASCAR Cup Series, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Craftsman Truck Series, ARCA Series, IROC Series, and late model driver, who competed from 1990 through 2020. Spending time driving for some of the biggest legends of NASCAR, such as Dale Earnhardt, Richard Childress, and Richard Petty, along with several others. He has reached the top of the sport by winning the 2000 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series championship, while also ending his career as a Start&Park driver. Getting his start racing late models at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway in the late 1980s. Winning the track championship at the track in 1990, winning 15 out of 23 races throughout the 90 season, only finishing worse than third place once. He also made his Busch Series, now O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, debut behind the wheel of John Boatman's number 81 Chevrolet at Richmond in the fall, starting 23rd and finishing 21st. Green made two more attempts that same season, qualifying for the fall Rockingham event, starting 30th and finishing 38th, following a lap 35 accident, as well as making his ARCA Series debut at Atlanta in the fall, behind the wheel of the Sadler brothers' number 95 Buick, starting 13th and finishing a decent 6th. From 1991 through 1994, Jeff Green would make the jump up into the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series on a more permanent, but yet still part-time basis, making 12 attempts, qualifying 11 times, behind the wheel of John Boatman's number 86 Sea Ray Boats Chevrolet for the first half of the 91 season. Green's best start in that number 86 was 4th at Bristol in the spring. His best finish in that number 86 was 6th at Volusia County Speedway in the spring. The second half of the 91 season had Jeff Green making 5 attempts, qualifying 3 times behind the wheel of Wayne Day's number 52 31W Insulation Chevrolet. His best start in that number 52 was 16th, and his best finish in the number 52 was 15th, both coming at Rougemont in the late summer of 91. Remaining the driver of Wayne Day's part-time entry, a number 16 31W Insulation Chevrolet in 1992, making 15 attempts, qualifying 13 times throughout the 92 season. Green's best start was 9th at Bristol in the spring, and his best finish was 7th at Dublin in the spring. Overall, 13 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, Green scored 1 top 10 finish. Remaining the driver of that number 16 Chevrolet for Wayne Day, Green made another 11 starts for the team in 1993. His best start was 1st at Rougemont in the spring, and his best finish was 5th at Bristol in the spring. Overall, in 11 starts, Green scored 1 pole, 0 wins, 1 top 5, and 1 top 10. Only making 4 attempts, qualifying 3 times for 2 different teams in 1994. A one-off start at Bristol in the spring, behind the wheel of Michael Waltrip's number 17 Clabber Pontiac, starting 12th and finishing a strong 3rd. Near the conclusion of the 94 season, Green made 3 attempts, qualifying twice behind the wheel of Pat Davidson's number 76 Chevrolet. Green's best start in the number 76 was 24th at Dover in the fall. His best finish was 10th at Charlotte in the fall. Overall, in 3 starts throughout the 94 season, Green scored 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s. Now, over the last several seasons, between 1991 and 1994, Jeff Green made 41 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, scoring 1 pole, 0 wins, 2 top 5s, and 5 top 10s. During this same time period, Green attempted his first NASCAR Cup Series start, missing the field at Charlotte in the spring of 1991, behind the wheel of John Boatman's number 86 Chevrolet. Finally making his Cup Series debut at Richmond in the fall of 94, behind the wheel of the Sadler brothers' number 95 Shoney's Inn Ford, making 3 attempts, qualifying twice. Green's best start in that number 95 was 5th, and his best finish in that number 95 was 29th, both coming at North Wilkesboro in the fall. The final Cup Series race of the 94 season was held at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Green made a one-off start behind the wheel of Junior Johnson's number 97 Ultra Wheels Ford, starting 31st and finishing 18th. Down in the ARCA Series, Green also made a one-off start at the Atlanta Motor Speedway in the fall, also for the Sadler brothers, starting 10th and finishing 25th, making a couple starts in the All-Pro Series, one in 1991 in Nashville, driving a number 76 Chevrolet, starting 16th and finishing 28th, after an engine issue on lap 209. The other start came at Bristol in the summer, behind the wheel of a number 44 Penrose Meat Snacks Chevrolet, starting 4th, leading 102 laps on his way to finishing 2nd. Starting in 1995 and lasting through the conclusion of the 1996 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series season, Dale Earnhardt signed Jeff Green to become Dale Earnhardt Incorporated's first full-time driver, behind the wheel of the team's number 3 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. Tony Eury Sr. served as his crew chief for both seasons, making 51 starts throughout the two seasons. He did miss the field at Atlanta in the spring of 1995. Therefore, Earnhardt bought Green a spot in the field, driving number 03 Chevrolet, owned by Hank Parker Sr. Green's best start was first, twice, at Myrtle Beach in the early summer of 95 and Darlington in the spring of 96. His best finish was second 3 times, at Charlotte in the spring of 95, and Bristol in the late summer of 95, then Bristol in the spring of 96. Overall, 51 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts. Jeff Green scored 2 poles, 0 wins, 11 top 5s, and 25 top 10s, with the best points finish of 4th in 1996. Also making 4 NASCAR Cup Series starts throughout the 1996 season. 2 behind the wheel of Dale Earnhardt Incorporated's number 14 Racing for Kids Chevrolet. Green's best start in that number 14 was 33rd, and his best finish in that number 14 was 36th, both coming at Pocono in the early summer. Then, near the conclusion of the 96 Cup Series season, Green made 2 starts behind the wheel of Diamond Ridge Motorsports number 29 Cartoon Network Chevrolet. His best start was 6th, and his best finish was 26th, both coming at Charlotte in the fall. The final ARCA Series start Green would make in his career was a one-off start at Martinsville in the spring. He started 20th and finished 13th. Bouncing from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series to the NASCAR Cup Series in 1998, Green began the season driving for Diamond Ridge Motorsports, making the first 14 starts of the 98 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series season. Making the first 14 starts of the season, all behind the wheel of the team's number 8 Chevrolet. And in them first 14 races, Green was off to a pretty solid start. He was competitive, and he was doing pretty well in the point standings. Green's best start was first, twice, at Las Vegas and Texas in the spring. His best finish was first, also coming at Las Vegas in the spring. Overall, in 14 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, Green scored 2 poles, 1 win, 6 top 5s, and 7 top 10s, finishing 28th in final O'Reilly Auto Parts Series point standings. Starting at race 11 in Charlotte, Green was called up to the Cup Series for a full-time ride, also for Diamond Ridge Motorsports, in their number 29 Cartoon Network Chevrolet, making 22 attempts, qualifying 20 times. Green's best start was 4th at Charlotte in the spring, and his best finish was 4th at Atlanta in the fall. Overall, in 20 Cup Series starts, Green scored 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s. Green also made his Craftsman Truck Series debut that same season, behind the wheel of Clarence Brewer's number 47 Redman Golden Blend Chevrolet, starting 16th and finishing 33rd, following an issue with the truck's handling. For the 1998 NASCAR Cup Series season, Jeff Green made 27 attempts, qualifying 22 times during the 98 season. Starting the season behind the wheel of Diamond Ridge Motorsports number 29 Team Monte Carlo Chevrolet. His best start in that number 29 was 31st at Las Vegas in the spring. His best finish in that number 29 was 22nd at Rockingham in the spring. At Martinsville in the spring, Green made a one-off start behind the wheel of Chuck Ryder's number 30 Gumout Pontiac, starting 41st and finishing 18th. To complete the 98 Cup Series season, Felix Sabates hired Green to drive his team's number 46 First Union, the Money Store, Chevrolet, for the remainder of the 98 season. Gary Grossenbacher served as Green's crew chief, while he drove that number 46 car, making 19 attempts, qualifying 18 times. Green's best start was 5th at Indianapolis in the summer, and his best finish was 12th at Loudon in the summer. Overall, in 22 Cup Series starts, Green scored 1 top 15 and 5 top 20s, finishing 40th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Back in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Green made 10 attempts, qualifying 7 times for 3 different teams. He made 3 starts behind the wheel of Joe Washington's number 50 Dr. Pepper Ford. His best start in that number 50 was 15th at Nazareth in the spring. His best finish in that number 50 was 13th, twice, at Nazareth and Charlotte in the spring, as well as making 5 attempts, qualifying twice behind the wheel of Mac Martin's number 92 Craft Chevrolet. Green's best start in that number 92 was 23rd at Bristol in the fall, and his best finish in the number 92 was 18th at Richmond in the fall. The other 2 starts Green made was behind the wheel of Ricky Craven's number 2 New Holland Chevrolet. Green's best start in that number 2 was 6th, and his best finish in that number 2 was 9th, both coming at Texas in the spring. By 1999, Jeff Green was signed to drive for Greg Pollock's PPC Racing behind the wheel of the team's number 32 Kleenex Chevrolet. Harold Hawley began the season as Green's crew chief in '99. Even though he wasn't able to make the field at the spring Rockingham event, this was because qualifying was rained out, and the team didn't have any owner points. Spending 7 weeks in the first portion of the season outside the top 5 in points, getting there by race 11 and staying there the rest of the '99 season. Green's best start was first, 4 times, at Loudon and Nazareth in the spring, Bristol in the late summer, then Memphis in the fall. His best finish was first 3 times, Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway in the spring, Myrtle Beach in the summer, and Memphis in the fall. Overall, in 31 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, Green scored 4 poles, 3 wins, 15 top 5s, and 19 top 10s, finishing 2nd in final O'Reilly Auto Parts Series point standings. Up in the Cup Series, Green made 3 attempts, qualifying once for the early summer race at Pocono, behind the wheel of Felix Sabates' number 01 Trackbone Chevrolet, starting 26th and finishing 21st. He missed the Coca-Cola 600 in the spring at Charlotte, also attempting but missing the field for the '99 Daytona 500, behind the wheel of Bud Moore's number 15 Ford. In his qualifying race for the 500, he started 23rd and finished 28th, following a lap 1 accident. With the turn of the century, Jeff Green remained a driver for PPC Racing, but in the 2000 season, the team switched the number 32 to the number 10 and began being sponsored by Nestle Nesquik. The year 2000 would end up being Green's best season in his career. The season, with a lap 13 accident at Daytona and finishing 42nd, Green made it to the top 5 in points by race 3 and the series point lead by race 9 in Talladega in the spring, leading the series point standings for the remainder of the season. His best start was first 8 times at Bristol, California, and Richmond in the spring, Myrtle Beach, Milwaukee, Nazareth, and Gateway in the summer, then Memphis in the fall. His best finish was first 6 times at Richmond in the spring, South Boston and Myrtle Beach in the early summer, Milwaukee and Pikes Peak in the summer, then Rockingham in the fall. Overall, in 32 starts, Green scored 8 poles, 6 wins, 25 top 5s, and 27 top 10s, winning the 2000 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Championship. Defending his O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Championship the next season in 2001, still behind the wheel of PPC Racing's number 10 Nestle Nesquik Ford, spending the entirety of the 01 season inside the top 5 in O'Reilly Auto Parts Series points, even leading the series point standings for 4 separate weeks. Green's best start was first 3 times at Dover in the early summer, then Richmond and Homestead in the fall. His best finish was first 4 times at Darlington and Charlotte in the spring, then Dover and Kansas in the fall. Overall, in 33 starts, Green scored 3 poles, 4 wins, 16 top 5s, and 26 top 10s, finishing 2nd in final O'Reilly Auto Parts Series point standings. Up in the Cup Series, Green ran a limited schedule for Richard Childress Racing. He made 9 attempts, qualifying 7 times, behind the wheel of the team's number 30 America Online Chevrolet. Green's best start in that number 30 was first at Bristol in the late summer. His best finish was 17th in Michigan in the early summer. He also made a one-off start behind the wheel of the team's number 31 Lowe's Chevrolet at Homestead in the fall, starting and finishing 9th. After winning the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series championship in dominating fashion in 2000, Jeff Green ran his only IROC Series in 2001. His best finish was 8th twice at Talladega in the spring and Indianapolis in the late summer. Overall, he scored 3 top 10 finishes, finishing 10th in final IROC Series point standings. That following season, in 2002, Jeff Green became a full-time NASCAR Cup Series driver, behind the wheel of Richard Childress Racing's number 30 America Online Chevrolet. Todd Barrier served as Green's crew chief in 2002, spending the first half of the season in the 20s in points, climbing into the teens by season's end. Green's best start was 6th at Rockingham in the fall, and his best finish was 2nd at Loudon in the summer. Overall, in 36 starts, Green scored 4 top 5s and 6 top 10s, finishing 17th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. As far as the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Green ran a select schedule behind the wheel of Richard Childress Racing's number 21 Rockwell Automation Chevrolet, splitting the season with Jay Sauter. Green's best start was first 5 times at both Rockingham races, Texas in the spring, Dover in the early summer, then Homestead in the fall. His best finish was first twice at Bristol and Charlotte in the spring. Overall, in 22 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, Green scored 5 poles, 2 wins, 12 top 5s, and 16 top 10s, finishing 19th in final driver's standings. Making a one-off start in the Featherlight Southwest Series at Sonoma in the early summer, behind the wheel of Dexter Tools' number 01 Colorfast Coyote Tools Chevrolet, starting 36th and finishing 32nd following a lap 40 accident. The 2003 NASCAR Cup Series season was one of change for Jeff Green, starting the season driving the Richard Childress Racing number 30 America Online Chevrolet. Mike Beam served as his crew chief while he drove that number 30 in 2003. Green's best start was first at Daytona in the spring while driving that number 30, and his best finish while driving that number 30 was 7th at Texas in the spring, basically being traded to Dale Earnhardt Incorporated for Steve Park, taking over his former ride, the number 1 Pennzoil Chevrolet, making 12 starts during the season. Green's best start in that number 1 was 13th at Michigan in the early summer, and his best finish was 9th at Kansas in the summer. Starting race 28 in Dover, Green took over the Petty Enterprises number 43 Cheerios Dodge, making 9 attempts, qualifying 8 times to end the 03 season. Green's best start in the number 43 was 9th at Kansas in the fall, and his best finish was 16th at Dover in the fall. Overall, in 31 NASCAR Cup Series starts, Green scored 1 pole, 0 wins, 0 top 5s, and 1 top 10, finishing 34th in final point standings, only making 6 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts in 03 for 4 different teams. He made a one-off start for Joe Nemechek's number 87 Cellular One Chevrolet at Daytona in the spring, starting first and finishing 36th following a lap 91 accident. At Charlotte in the spring, Green made another one-off start behind the wheel of Bill Amick's number 32 Chevrolet, starting 43rd and finishing 40th after an engine failure ended his race early. Following 2 starts behind the wheel of George Debedart's number 48 Gould's Pump Chevrolet. Green's best start in the number 48 was 9th at Dover in the fall, and his best finish in the number 48 was 24th at Charlotte in the fall. The other 2 starts Green made was behind the wheel of Herzog-Jackson Motorsports number 92 Chevrolet. His best start in that number 92 was 22nd, and his best finish in the number 92 was 11th, both coming at Kansas in the fall. Overall, in 6 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, Green scored 1 pole, 0 wins, 0 top 5s, and 0 top 10s, continuing to drive that Petty Enterprises number 43 Dodge in both 2004 and 2005, making 72 NASCAR Cup Series starts over them 2 seasons, spending both seasons buried in the point standings. Green's best start was 3rd twice at California and Richmond in the spring of 04, His best finish was 7th at Martinsville in the fall of 04. Overall, in 72 starts, Green scored 1 top 10 with the best points finish at 29th in 2005. Also making 10 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts in 2005. Making 3 starts behind the wheel of Mike Curb's number 43, Curb Records Dodge. Green's best start in that number 43 was 10th, and his best finish was 18th, both coming at Bristol in the fall. Making his other 7 starts behind the wheel of the Baji brothers, number 4, Geico Dodge. Green's best start was 3rd, and his best finish in the number 4 was 6th, both coming at Richmond in the spring. Overall, in 10 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, Green scored 1 top 10. Changing teams in the NASCAR Cup Series before the 2006 season, becoming the driver of Gene Haas's number 66 Best Buy Chevrolet full-time. Booty Barker served as Green's crew chief for the first 31 races of the 2006 season, before Harold Hawley took over the position. Green's best start was 4th at Texas in the spring, and his best finish was 7th at Talladega in the fall. Overall, in 36 starts, Green scored 2 top 10s, finishing 28th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Back in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Green only made a one-off start at Michigan in the late summer, behind the wheel of John McGill's number 36 Robots.com Chevrolet, starting 30th and finishing 22nd. Remaining with Gene Haas's number 66 Best Buy Haas Automation Chevrolet for the first 32 races of the 2007 NASCAR Cup Series season, floating between 23rd and 35th in point standings throughout the season. Green's best start was 9th at Bristol in the spring, and his best finish was 6th 3 separate times at Bristol and Phoenix in the spring, then Loudon in the summer, getting released 4 races prior to the conclusion of the season. Overall, in 32 starts, Green scored 3 top 10s, finishing 32nd in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings, only making 3 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts throughout the season, behind the wheel of Jay Robinson's number 28 Chevrolet. Green's best start was 14th, and his best finish was 19th, both coming to California in the spring. From 2008 through 2020, Jeff Green ran a select schedule in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, running the majority of the schedule from 2011 through 2018, mostly driving for TriStar Motorsports. Making 3 starts behind the wheel of Curtis Key's number 31 Chevrolet. His best start was 21st twice at Bristol in the late summer and Charlotte in the fall. His best finish was 28th at Bristol in the late summer. For the 2009 season, Green only made 8 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series attempts, qualifying 6 times, making 4 starts behind the wheel of Wayne Day's number 05 31W Installation Chevrolet. Green's best start in that number 05 was 13th at Daytona in the summer. His best finish in that number 05 was 24th at Indianapolis Raceway Park in the summer, also making a one-off start apiece behind the wheel of Pat McDonald's number 81 D.H. Griffin Company's Dodge at Nashville Superspeedway in the spring, starting 36th and finishing 21st. The other start came at Darlington in the spring, behind the wheel of Curtis Key's number 40 StopRepairBills.com Chevrolet, starting 32nd and finishing 23rd. Missing the field in one-off attempts, behind the wheel of MSRP Motorsports number 91 Chevrolet at Kentucky in the early summer. The other attempt Green made was behind the wheel of Todd Wilkerson's number 85 31W Installation Ford at Gateway in the summer. 2010 was the first season Green would begin making starts for TriStar Motorsports, starting the 2010 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series season, making a one-off start behind the wheel of Wayne Day's number 05 Chevrolet at Daytona in the spring, starting 33rd and finishing 27th. Making 4 starts throughout the season, driving Curtis Key's number 40 Chevrolet. Green's best start in that number 40 was 29th at Gateway in the spring, and his best finish in that number 40 was 16th at Talladega in the spring. But starting in Montreal in the late summer, TriStar Motorsports would purchase that number 36 team from Front Row Motorsports. Green's best start in the number 36 was 21st at Phoenix in the fall, and his best finish in the number 36 was 40th at IRP in the summer. Running the entire season in 2011 behind the wheel of TriStar Motorsports number 44 Chevrolet, starting and parking, not finishing a single of his 29 starts in 2011. Green's best start was 20th at Kansas in the fall, and his best finish was 33rd at IRP in the summer, finishing 38th in final O'Reilly Auto Parts Series point standings. Returning to TriStar Motorsports for the 2012 season, making 21 starts behind the wheel of the team's number 10 Toyota, 5 starts behind the wheel of the team's number 14 Hefty Reynolds Wrap Toyota, 3 in a number 91 Toyota, and 2 in a number 44 G-Oil Toyota. Mostly starting and parking, running the entire race only 6 times throughout the 2012 season. Green's best start was 17th at Bristol in the late summer, and his best finish was 15th at Dover in the fall. Overall, in 32 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, Green scored 1 top 15 and 5 top 20s, finishing 26th in final point standings. The 2013 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series season saw Jeff Green remain with TriStar Motorsports, making 25 starts behind the wheel of their team's number 10 Toyota, 6 starts in the team's number 14 Hefty Reynolds Wrap Toyota, and a one-off start at Daytona in the summer behind the wheel of Mary Louise Miller's number 70 Toyota. Green's best start was 13th at Talladega in the spring, and his best finish was 16th at Bristol in the late summer. Overall, in 32 starts, Green scored 2 top 20s, finishing 29th in final O'Reilly Auto Parts Series point standings. Over the next 2 seasons, in 2014 and 2015, Green remained a mainstay at TriStar Motorsports, making 14 starts behind the wheel of the team's number 10 Toyota, 7 in the number 91 Toyota, 5 behind the wheel of the team's number 14 Hefty Reynolds Wrap Toyota, then 22 starts in the team's number 19 Toyota. Starting and parking all but 4 starts. Green's best start was 8th at Daytona in the spring of 2014, and his best finish was 18th at Dover in the spring of 2014. Overall, in 48 starts, Green scored 1 top 20, with the best points finish of 31st in 2014. After years of staying on as one of TriStar Motorsports drivers, Green actually began making starts for a couple new teams near the end of the 2016 season, making 8 starts behind the wheel of TriStar Motorsports number 10 Toyota, 15 in that number 14 Toyota, then 3 starts for Rick Ware Racing, and 2 starts in a number 17, 1 start in a number 15 Toyota, as well as making 3 starts for B.J. McLeod's number 99 Ford team. Green's best start was 18th, and his best finish was 7th, both coming at Daytona in the summer. Overall, in 29 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, Green scored 1 top 10, 1 top 15, and 1 top 20, finishing 28th in final O'Reilly Auto Parts Series point standings. 2017 was a bit of a transformational season for Jeff Green, making 31 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts in all throughout the 17 season for a couple different race teams in 3 different rides. He began the season driving B.J. McLeod's number 8 Chevrolet, making the first 7 starts of the season. Then made 2 more starts in the number 8. By essentially the halfway point of the season, Green's best start in the number 8 was 24th at Iowa in the summer, and his best finish in the number 8 was 10th at Talladega in the spring. Then starting at race 8 in Richmond in the spring, Green began making starts for RSS Racing, the Sieg family race team, making 16 starts behind the wheel of the team's number 93 Chevrolet, and 5 starts behind the wheel of the team's number 38 Chevrolet to conclude the season. Green's best start was 24th at Iowa in the summer, and his best finish was 37th twice at Texas and Phoenix in the fall. Overall, in 32 starts, Green scored 1 top 10 and 2 top 20s. Jeff Green moved over to the RSS Racing team for 2018, running all 33 races throughout the season, making 26 starts behind the wheel of the team's number 93 Chevrolet, 5 starts in the team's number 38 Chevrolet, and a one-off start behind the wheel of the team's number 37 Chevrolet, starting and parking all but 2 events throughout the season. Green's best start was 24th twice, at Dover in the spring and Iowa in the early summer. His best finish was 9th at Talladega in the fall. Overall, in 33 starts, Green scored 1 top 10, finishing 37th in final O'Reilly Auto Parts Series point standings. Sticking with RSS Racing for the 2019 season, making 17 starts throughout that season. 15 behind the wheel of the team's number 38 Chevrolet, and 2 starts behind the wheel of the team's number 93 Chevrolet. Green's best start was 20th, and his best finish was 7th, twice at Daytona in the spring and summer. Overall, in 17 starts, Green scored 2 top 10s, finishing 41st in final O'Reilly Auto Parts Series point standings. As the sport moved into a brand new decade, the 2020s, Jeff Green would make his final career O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, making 4 behind the wheel of the RSS Racing team's number 93 Chevrolet, and 1 in the team's number 38. Green's best start was 16th at Bristol in the spring, and his best finish was 15th at Phoenix in the spring. Overall, in 5 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, Green scored 1 top 15 and 1 top 20. Up in the NASCAR Cup Series, Jeff Green made very select starts from 2008 through 2015. Green made 4 Cup Series attempts, missing all 4 tries, attempting 1 behind the wheel of the Wood Brothers Racing number 21 Ford, Motorcraft Ford, DNQing for the spring Bristol race. Then he made 3 back-to-back-to-back attempts for Front Row Motorsports number 34 Chevrolet, missing the field all 3 times, attempting 6 Cup Series races in 2010, 4 behind the wheel of Bill Jenkins number 26 Airguard Ford, and 2 starts behind the wheel of Larry Gunsman's number 64 Toyota. Green's best start was 16th at Richmond in the fall, and his best finish was 24th at Bristol in the late summer. Only making 2 attempts throughout the 2011 season, qualifying at Loudon in the summer, behind the wheel of Front Row Motorsports number 55 Ford, starting 36th and finishing 43rd due to a brake failure on lap 11. Not making a single Cup Series attempt in 2012, the final Cup Series season that Jeff Green would ever make a start in the series was 2015, making 3 attempts qualifying for the spring Richmond race. Green started 33rd and finished 40th. Throughout Jeff Green's entire 30-year-long racing career, he only made 10 Craftsman Truck Series starts in all. The aforementioned one in 1997, then 8 more in 2008, behind the wheel of Curtis Key's number 40 Chevrolet. Lance Hooper served as Green's crew chief while driving that number 40 in the Craftsman Truck Series. Green's best start was 16th, and his best finish was 7th, both coming at Las Vegas in the fall. Overall, in 8 Craftsman Truck Series starts, Green scored 1 top 10. Once again returning to the Craftsman Truck Series in 2012, making 2 attempts, qualifying once, behind the wheel of the RSS Racing number 37 Chevrolet. Green started 26th and finished 35th, starting and parking, exiting the event on lap 2. By 2021, Jeff Green had completely retired as an active NASCAR driver after suffering a rotator cuff injury and surgery. Green became the crew chief for RSS Racing, number 28 part-time ARCA Series race team, driven by Kyle Sieg. Green's final O'Reilly Auto Parts Series start came at Pocono in 2020, a race in which he DNF'd after only 17 laps. His final race altogether was Kyle Sieg's O'Reilly Auto Parts Series debut at Dover. So, in 270 NASCAR Cup Series starts, Green scored 2 poles, 0 wins, 5 top 5s, and 16 top 10s. In 535 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, Green scored 23 poles, 16 wins, 87 top 5s, and 131 top 10s, winning the 2000 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series championship. In 10 Craftsman Truck Series starts, Green scored 1 top 10. In 2 ARCA Series starts, Green scored 1 top 10. In 3 Southwest Series starts, Green scored 1 top 5 and 1 top 10. In 4 IROC Series starts, Green scored 3 top 10s, finishing 10th in final IROC Series point standings. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care.